I want to share a dream that I had with all of you. And I was, right before last Passover, Tehila and I were invited to teach in two Jewish communities in South Africa, in Johannesburg and in Cape Town. Two Shabbats right before Passover. And then in the middle of the week, we had 3 days where we weren't teaching in the schools and we weren't teaching in people's homes and we weren't teaching in the synagogues. And we went up to Kruger Park with all of our family and we went on a safari. And I had a dream that we were back on that safari and we were just out in the bush, just alone, looking at giraffes and elephants, and the music was playing and just like the wonder and beauty of this world. And then I saw like the orcs of Hamas, like kill, 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 death. And I'm like, oh God, just Hashem made such a beautiful world. Why are there these horrible, evil, demonic people that are just not letting us enjoy Hashem's creation? He created the Garden of Eden on this earth, and man has corrupted it. And then from there, it really struck me. Carl Jung says something really beautiful. He says, people don't have ideas. Ideas have people. It's like sometimes they're like, well, I have this interesting idea. It's like, no, no, no. They're ideas, and then ideas have people, and ideas can spread. And the ideas are actually the true reality, and the bodies, we're just the hosts of the ideas. And that's, I think, a really deep idea. And that's what the Messianic era is. The Messianic era is in the water, in the knowledge of God, the idea of God. The knowledge of God will cover the world like water covers the sea. It's like the right idea, the right consciousness, the right spirit will come to the world. So Carl Jung says, people don't have ideas, ideas have people. Now, there are some ideas that are so vile, that are so disgusting, that are so evil, they need to be eradicated from the earth because evil exists only within man. Go to the African safari, giraffes don't have evil. Lions that are eating gazelles, that's not evil, that's nature. There's nothing evil. Evil exists within man, and the root of evil are in those ideas. And so I want you to look at this video right now.
There are no innocent Hamas mothers. This is my message as an Israeli mother. I am speaking to the Western moralizers who call for even-handedness and restraint, who justify the atrocities that Israel is facing, who talk about innocence on both sides. Look me in the eye. I'm not following the news. I don't have to. I've been on the front lines all week. I was asked to prepare the mutilated, tortured, dead bodies of our innocent, helpless brothers and sisters, according to Jewish tradition, so they can be brought to burial. Daily I witnessed the brutality that befell our nation last week. Headless bodies so charred they may as well have come directly out of the ovens at Auschwitz. Grandparents shot dead with their hands tied behind their backs. Little children with marks of severe abuse on their lifeless bodies. Beautiful young women still dressed in their finest party-going clothing, drenched in blood, signs of brutal rape still present. There's a Jewish concept that salvation always is in the merit of the women, the mothers. This week, I understood with clarity how true this is. We, the mothers, are responsible for the education of our children. If my child, God forbid, raped or murdered, or celebrated brutal murder, or watched the fear porn videos put out by the evil Hamas, or danced in the streets when hearing of mass murder, I have failed to educate, and I am responsible. There's no innocent mother in Gaza. While Jewish mothers teach their children how sacred life is and how precious the human body is, even after death, these evil women educate their children to hate and kill. These evil mothers glow with pride when their boys die as martyrs. As long as they took a Jewish soul with them, the more cruelty inflicted on the innocent victim, the better. And lest you think this is a territorial dispute and the poor Gazans had no choice but to defend themselves, learn your history. There's no room for ignorance here. Jewish people were brutally attacked in the land way before there was a state, with the same evil glee. And are the Gazans really trapped in a huge prison? I will not tolerate lazy, dishonest moralizing. Gaza has been Judenrat for over 18 years. A majority of the children living there today have never interacted with an Israeli soldier. Gaza has direct land border with Egypt. Go ahead and ask Egypt why it does not want these genocidal terrorists and their enthusiastic supporters in their land. Find out why the people of Gaza chose to destroy greenhouses left behind by industrious Jews that could have supported half their population. Gaza is a stunning seacoast enclave, a magnificent potential vacation heaven. Why has no resort been built? And all the cement and water pipes generously donated by Western governments, instead being used to dig tunnels and make missiles to harm, terrorize, and kill Jews. This is an existential war between good and evil. Only one can remain standing. You get to decide if you support the death cult of Hamas, who dream of finishing what Hitler began. There is no middle ground, no compromise. It always begins with the Jews. But those of you who think you can cower behind the death cult and you will be safe, this meat grinder is coming for everyone. Evil destroys everything in its path. This Jewish mother chooses life. We will prevail. Am Yisrael Chai.
And so that's what we're dealing with now, where they are taking their ideas and they're poisoning the minds of children, of the women. It's an entire society. Israel left the Gaza Strip in 2005. The Hamas immediately took over. And since then, they have corrupted the minds of everyone in Gaza. People are saying the war is against Hamas, but the war is not against the people of Gaza. The entire society there is rotten to its core now. The ideas have spread, and they are hell-bent on killing everyone that's not a part of their Islamic State, a part of ISIS, a part of the Hamas, that's a part of their regime. Years ago, Ari and I went into Gaza in one of the big wars called Oferi, cast lead, and we specifically endangered ourselves in order to not hurt the innocent civilians, the 10-year-old boys that were there at that time. Those 10-year-old boys that we spared then are the young men that perpetrated the massacre that happened on October 7th. That is that society. And so what do we do when we encounter such horrendous evil? What do we do? The only place to look is to look toward the Torah, because what? We're going to look to the Geneva Conventions and to Russia for our moral clarity, to China? No, thank you. I think it's time that we look to the Torah. And the Torah calls this evil Amalek. When you just see unbridled evil, Hamas, like we just learned, it's undeniable. It is evil. To not believe in good and evil in the face of evil, to not have emunah then, is actually a vile act. Because if you just want to say, yeah, okay, there's no good, there's no evil, there's no God, it's in narratives. Look, they butchered those people and raped those people and burned those people. It's like, ugh. On the inside, we know there's a truth. We know there's good, and we know that that's evil. It's easier actually to come to know God through evil than it is through good, because we see evil and we can see that it's wrong. And then what do we do when we see an entire society that is evil? So here is what the prophet commanded King Saul to do. And this is in the book of Samuel in the 15th chapter. Now go and strike Amalek and utterly destroy all that he has. Do not spare him, but put to death both man and woman, child and infant, ox and sheep, camel and donkey. Carpet bomb, delete the entire society. That's what you have to do, because a society that is so corrupt, that is so evil, that will continue to espouse evil, the only way to minimize innocent lives from dying is to delete them from the earth. Delete the society. Put them in Scotland, and those that decide to stay, eradicate them. That's the only solution. That's the moral thing to do, because when you're merciful to the evil, it's just a matter of time until the evil will be evil to the merciful. That's what the Talmud says. Those who are merciful to evil are being evil to the merciful. When we just allow evil to exist, it's just a matter of time. For 2 years, the Hamas, they were just quiet, and we kept on giving them money, giving them electricity, more aid, more aid. Imagine the society that has done nothing for the world. They've contributed zero to the world, zero export, no innovation, no blessing, nothing. More aid, more money, more tax money, more money from the nations. And what did they do with billions of dollars? They built terror tunnels. They bought missiles and knives and grenades, and they just hoarded it and waited. And while we were like, la-di-da-di-da, we're making peace with the Hamas, they're training to kill, getting their kids training to kill, ready to kill, ready to kill. Mordechai Kedar says that Iran is furious with the Hamas now. They spoiled their plan. The original plan was that this attack was supposed to happen 3 days later while the kids were in school. And they were going to go into the schools and massacre all the Jewish children. And they were supposed to take over larger cities. But the Hamas, when they heard the music festival, their blood was flowing and they couldn't control themselves. They wanted to go out and massacre, and they jumped the gun 3 days too early, and they weren't able to time their attack with Iran and Hezbollah. And they actually foiled their own plan. They were so evil and bloodlusting thirsty that they couldn't hold themselves back when they heard the music festival of the Jews celebrating their peace music festival in the South. So a society that is so evil, there is only one thing to do, and it is to erase them from the face of the earth. We're at war with jihad, whether we're fighting them or not. And when they're done with us, they're coming for you, and they're coming for the rest of the world. And so God has strategically placed Israel in the darkest place in the entire world, where the nest of vipers, the source of it all, is right by us. And what are we called to do? We're called to be a light unto the nations, to vanquish the darkness by bringing the light. There is no other way. I mean, America just gave $100 million in aid to Gaza. Just so you know, the Marshall Plan and the Berlin airlift after Germany, that only happened after there was an unconditional surrender of the Nazis in Germany. And then there was 45 years of military occupation until the U.S. decided that the Germans could finally be trusted. None of that has happened with Gaza. We're pumping them with more and more resources and more money and more aid. Imagine in the middle of World War II, giving the German Nazis more money to buy more weapons and to buy more supplies. It's like insanity. It's like America right now is funding both sides of the war. It's like the Democratic Party has an interest for this conflict to just keep on going. And so Israel now has to do something. It has to do what's right. If you think about it, the Jews consist of 0.2% of the world population, 0.2 of 1%. You understand that? It's like smaller than a half of 1%. The Muslim population of the world, 20 to 25% of the world today identify as Muslims. We have no chance at winning world opinion because there are just too many other people out there. And the 0.2% of 1% of world population doesn't stand a chance on Facebook. So then what needs to happen? Ben Gurion prophetically said it. He said it doesn't matter what the nations say, it matters what the Jews do. And so now it is time to go all the way back to our source. So many years I used to read those verses in the Bible and be like, really, we had to kill all of them? Like the women and the children and the people, like all of them? Like really? That doesn't, maybe that's a primitive, maybe that was for a time of old, but not for today. And now, why was that the command? It's a command because it's not easy to do. It's a command because our instincts are we don't want to do that. And it could be that the Tehillim is right, and maybe the book of Yechezkel is right, and that God will fight our wars for us and bring an earthquake and make those tunnels be their burial spots. Maybe God will save us from ourselves. But until then, we have to do what's right and what's true and what's moral and what's good. And what is good is to vanquish the evil from the face of the earth. Every one of those terrorists had a mother that had to raise them to become that terrorist. There are no innocents in Gaza right now. The entire society is a society of orcs that are evil, that celebrate our destruction. And so we need to realize that we are hated. We are hated, and they're not going to stop. And so God should give us the strength, because this is going to be not a quick fix. This seems like this is going to be a long road ahead. And I think that it's not going to stay within the borders of Israel. And so all the good people of the world now, as this line is being drawn in the sand, a book is being written. In the book of Malachi, it says that God is recording everything right now. Who is standing with the truth? Who is standing with the good? And who is standing with the evil? And in my lifetime, I don't think it's ever been as clear as the light against the dark, the good against the evil. And so may we see the Geula Shlema, Bimhera B'Yameinu. May we see Eretz Yisrael cleaned from the evil. May it all just disappear like smoke going up to heaven. May we see a new light come from Zion, a new beginning. May this flood somehow, like the waters of Noah, purify the world and bring an end to this dark reign of evil. And may only the right ideas, only goodness, only chesed, only love conquer all.